Somebody sitting under the Christmas tree. Welcome, welcome. So today we're talking about belonging completely to ourselves, and I wanted to talk about the sacred relationship. I figured I'd have a little bit to say about it when I came back, so let's see where we go with this. One of the things that Dr. Bryant Clements said at Hippocrates was, if you don't have PP, which he says is personal passion, you ain't got nothing. And so, even though the entire program there is well integrated with spirit, mind, and body, with emphasis on body, still, if you don't have passion, you ain't got nothing. You can eat all the right organic raw foods, you can do your spiritual practice, and this will open your mind to receive your personal passion, but we try to get it through doing things. We try to get it from somewhere else. I don't know how else to explain it. We think that, and most of us know, if we don't have passion, we feel it when we're without passion. Things are not sacred when there's no passion. They're just there. And we have to, relate and go through our day, and some great highs, some not so great highs, and then we fall asleep at night and we're kind of, our mind's busy recounting what we did today, or even better still, what we want to happen tomorrow because what happened today wasn't so good. But where's the passion? Passion isn't in experience. It isn't in people. It isn't in relationship. It's in us. And it's in knowing that the truth about us. That's where the passion starts. When I look at the ministers who yap a lot on the listserv, they talk about, well, what is our role as ministers in this world that's falling apart, and Ferguson and all these world events, and what are we supposed to be doing? How can we do it better? How can we co-create a world that works for everyone? And people will come on and they say, oh well, but you gotta do it this way, or you gotta do it that way, or how about, have you tried this, or why don't we do this as an organization? And it's a valuable conversation, not because it's going to come to pinpoint a solution, one solution, because there is no one solution. And the solution isn't out there anyway, it's in here. And we all know it's about consciousness. So the passion is about being consciously awake of the gift of God that has been given that we are. Not try to figure out how to use it. Now, you may disagree with me there, because we always say pray or treat and move your feet, because it's a twofold system. But when you look at it as a twofold system, you think of it as separate things. And if we're passionate, we treat or we pray affirmatively, knowing that everything that we could ever imagine could be a resource or give us the fulfillment of this, or vibrate at the level of the passion that we know about our own truth of being, is already happening. And the passion, the treatment and the passion that's awakening from the treatment will inspire us to take divine action. We don't have to think of divine action. Isn't that wonderful? But do you see how we either lean over here? Oh, I'm so confused. I don't know, I tried this and that and this and that. It's not working. I'm just going to pull back for a while. I'm going to do a lot of spiritual practice, which is good, because you come back to yourself and the God without the doingness. You come back to being. Very good. But you still expect to get a solution by doing it. Most of us do, because we are focused on the outcome. Not the inflow, but the outflow. So the inflow, when you're talking about sacred relationship with other people, we're focused on the inflow, but from the outside and another person into us. As opposed to the inflow of the truth, the awakening of consciousness, which, by the way, is much better supported when you take care of your body. I am finding this out. No more, well, gosh, I've been so good, I think I'll have a treat. You know that mindset? I just need a break. I have been like towing the line for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Had my birthday, what did I do? I went out with the gang who graduated, and we went to Christopher's Raw Food Place in West Palm Beach, Florida. Well, talk about menu. See, everything's familiar now. I'm in a restaurant, where I got choice. You know what there is to eat at Hippocrates? Salad. 21 days times 2 meals. 20 days. 40 meals of salad. Now, mind you, it's a very long buffet. And there's not much on it that's appetizing to the way I've always behaved and thought. To my needs, to my emotional needs, right? To my psychological needs, to my taste needs, right? To if I'm sad, I like to have comfort food, right? Or if we're lonely or we're confused, how many go for comfort food? We all go for comfort food. We don't go for a lettuce leaf. I don't care if it's endive or butter. Makes no difference. It's lettuce. You cannot fool me, Brian Clement, I said. Boy, I'll tell you, I met my resistance at that salad bar. Every day I came right back to my resistance. What a spiritual practice that was. Until I opened my mouth and said, thank you. Wow. Wow. Moved through my resistance, was grateful, blessed it as I ate it, and I felt better. Go figure. I didn't need ice cream to do that. I did it myself. When we slow down and set our intention to care for self, belong to self completely, we create a sacred relationship. From which, like when we pray, the evolution will follow from the inspiration. We don't have to do anything. What do we do as ministers when something happens, like Ferguson? We go into treatment. Now, some people might be compelled to fly there. Or when Katrina happened, people were just so devastated. The whole world came together and everybody had their own role. And no role was better or worse or more spiritual or more good or more right than any other role. We know if we listen what's right. But what's true about this teaching is that it's all consciousness, which means that it's energy and it's alive, it's life-giving, just like the food I was eating. All raw, all organic. My body liked it. My body's alive. I put live food in. Wow, there was a party in there. Really, and I invited all the lettuce groups. I was not exclusive. Sprouts! It took me a week to figure out I was supposed to cut all the sprouts because they were going up my nose and my eyes. I thought, this is terrible. And then I heard, don't cut the sprouts because they lose 15% of their potency as soon as air gets in the stem. I went, geez. So you can take anything from, what's the word I'm looking for? Extreme. Well, yes. And so we've all got to find our own way in that continuum with belonging to ourselves. Presumably, as we become more consciousness, we will come closer to the place of integration, our mind, our soul, and our body. Our conscious mind, our outgoing, outflow, circulatory system, and our inflow here. But what happens is we don't often consciously step into our subconscious. We just hang out here in the ways that we've known and in the beliefs that we have. We got to go in there and clean it up. It's like cleaning up here. This is detox. We got to detox and purge those unwanted beliefs, the core belief patterns that are not working for us. Because how am I going to know that sacredness exists in every person that participated in Ferguson, no matter what I judge they did as right or wrong? How am I going to move past that and help to create a world that works for everyone if I don't know their truth? And I can't know their truth if I don't know my truth. And for me, this teaching, the science of mind and spirit, albeit one path, certainly is a path worth exploring and going deeper on than perhaps any of you have. I'm still going deeper. I will never stop. So here's the things I learned to become closer to the relationship with God through becoming more loving and honoring of me. I learned to focus away from the lettuce leaf on an idea and a principle. I focused on the principle that life begets life, the law of attraction. You know, when you take dead food in your system, or when you put even vinegar, I was so disturbed, balsamic vinegar out the window, out of my cupboard, it ferments food as soon as it hits food. And so now the food is going in to a live system and it's starting to rot all the way down. Wow. Could have blown me over with a feather. There's a lot of things taken away from my diet, but anyway, but that's the idea. So I don't focus on the lettuce leaf, I focus on the truth of life. And I want to vibrate at the energy of life. Don't you? Yes, of course you do. There's a marriage there. So I'm using food as an example because it's on my mind right now and it's been my experience. But you can put anything in there. How about money? How about love? How about service? How about your career? How about your PP, personal passion? Do you not want that to unfold from being the highest and most connected to the energy of life as you can possibly be? See, that's our true calling. It's right here. We call it consciousness. It doesn't exclude body. Because the conscious mind of this universe moved upon itself and created life, body, creation, right? So it doesn't exclude that. Just like it doesn't exclude it in the absolute realm, the universal realm, it doesn't exclude it in the physical realm. So I learned to focus. Inside and on me. I learned to do things like put my fork down. Now you can use this as an analogy for anything in your life. Put my fork down in between my bites. Now how could you apply that to getting a new job or trying to make money? Put my fork down. Take a breath. They tell you to chew to liquefy everything. Well, that takes patience. Now, normally I didn't have patience. But it was because I was outer focused, not inner focused. Is this making sense? So that you can digest your food. That's why we get indigestion. Not only here and here and here. Indigestion could be stuck, right? Obstacles, challenges, can't move through something, great fear, old wound, whatever it is. Here and here. Just because we're not taking our time to put our fork down and breathe and digest it. We're not inner focused, we're outer focused. So I learned to focus. You know, every day I had a whole list of things to do if I wanted to do them, or I did nothing. So it was watching this movement of, okay, just breathe. You don't have to go there. You don't have to learn everything. I saw people rushing around on bikes from one appointment to another appointment. One girl had 4 massages in a day. I mean, that is beyond indulgence. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know how to hold that. Can you imagine 3 weeks of doing treatments like that every day? Never mind coming out of it, not hardly being able to stand on your legs, you know, and being so sensitive and open. But it's hard on the brain to receive that much attention because we don't give ourselves that much attention. And that's one of the reasons I went. Because I've been teaching these principles for 18 years. And I came to a place where I was stuck because I was divided within myself because part of me wasn't living the principles. And it was this part, the body of my affairs. And that includes everything. You can use your own imagination. The physical reality. We say that God is everywhere present. We say we do spiritual practice and we pray so that, not because we can become good people, but because we know that God is everywhere. So we know it's a friendly universe. So we know there's divine order. So we know something wonderful is always happening. So we know there's always infinite potential in our life. And yet we often do things that are not life-giving or supporting to ourselves in this worldly place that we live in. So I knew that I had to take a next step for me. So I had to focus on my body. And that was very difficult for me. Not my spiritual work, not learning more information, not figuring out how I'm going to do a focus ministry or my next brochure, but on me. Let me see a show of hands. How many have, just from kind of the little bit I've shared with you, how many have actually done that? I want to see how far out of the times I am. Have you? Amazing. Taken like 3 weeks of sabbatical, a month, or what? Really a huge amount of time that's very different from how you've always done your life and focused on you.
Days of silence, but 3 weeks of lettuce. No, I mean,
Yeah. And when, okay, now, thank you for sharing that. And was it on all these 3 areas? Oh, I'm sorry. The areas are spiritual, mental, subconscious, or unconscious, the unconscious realm, and the body. Yes? Well, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. It wasn't quite half of the people in the room. So we have work to do. And when we do this work, belonging completely to ourselves, we create sacred relationship with us, with our God. And then the rest just follows. So I learned to focus on that. And I went through all the resistances. There were many resistances and a lot of emotional barriers to doing that as well. Because you always touch into the deep place of unworthiness. You know, we all carry a little bit like we do change in our pocket. Somewhere there. Somewhere there. And the other thing that I worked on was my receptivity. You know, that's how life happens in the universal sense. Metaphysically or quantum physics will tell you that there is a divine order and a creative process from which all things come, from the invisible to the visible, from unformed energy into matter. And so I had to understand that as I opened to receive the sacredness of who I was, that whatever came from that, I would call it good, whatever it was. And there was a lot of love flowing on that campus. And I was put back to the first time I went to a a teen camp back in the early 90s for Religious Science International, and all the kids were talking about love, and all the workshops were on love and this and that. About the second day, I had these horrible pains in my gut. And I went for my very first spiritual mind treatment with one of the senior ministers that was also an advisor. I was a junior advisor. And he treated for me to release what was ever blocking love. See, I thought he was going to treat for the pain in my gut. See, we don't treat for the condition. We treat for that, where that energy is stuck on the spiritual realm, because of where our belief pattern is stuck in our own mental realm. So he knew it was, he asked me a few questions and he knew. I said, I didn't trust the love. I thought it was all phony. Because when I was a kid, I was running and hiding, and I was defending, and I was fending off, and I had a wall. I didn't know love as a teenager. So I looked at them from my filter and went, oh, that's just what they do. But it's not real. And because I had that thought, I wasn't receptive to it. And because I didn't let love or life in, I was in pain. And you can use that for anything you're going through as well, because it's all the same thing. So I had to learn to open and be receptive, not only to what was going on around me, what was going in me, what was coming out of me, but to everybody else and their journey. Now, I was in a sensitive, vulnerable position, and I want to tell you, I still haven't processed this. Most of the people at this place were stage 3-4 cancer. I felt like I had no right to be there. Isn't that interesting? I wasn't sick. That's what that was what I was hit with, and that's one of the first things I noticed. So we did a meet and greet, of course. And I don't like groups. It gets worse. But anyway, I won't put you through that. So I'm like that, and I'm in my meet. It's my turn, and then you have to stand up and say who you are and why you're there. And one thing you want them to know, and one thing you don't want them to know. I went, oh my God, I haven't even been here 12 hours. I haven't unpacked my suitcase and hung my clothes up. And all of a sudden, you got to just dive in. I went, I can do this. I said, I can do this, right? So it comes time to me, and I was stumbling over my words because I didn't want to say, there's nothing wrong with me. And in this teaching, we don't talk about sickness. I mean, we know it's factual, but we know it's not real. We know it's a fact, but it's an illusion, because it is the effect of something that's gone before, and we deal with the realm of mental spiritual. And the whole place is about physical and condition. I was like a fish out of water. Plus, I didn't feel I had a right to be there. So I started talking like everybody else. Well, I have a little arthritis, and I got chronic this, and I got that, and, I've had asthma all my life. Well, my asthma's pretty well been gone for a couple of years. But I was trying to think of something. Have you ever had that happen to you? And then I went, wow. You're just here to look after yourself. Have you noticed you have that in common with everybody? Oh, that took about 4 days. But you see what comes up. You see what comes up when we start to go in and focus in to create a sacred relationship with ourselves. Every piece of resistance we have. Profound. So to be receptive, like the law, we call it the law of action or the law of mind, the mind of God, which is impersonal, we must be neutral. We must be neutral and not hold on and grasp the old stories or the old experience or the condition of arthritis or anything. We must be neutral. And we must focus our mind on the principles of truth. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life. That life is perfect. It's my life now. So I did get to do my spiritual work. But not until I started to process here and here. Now normally I come in through here, because we teach that. So now I'm very cognizant of teaching more of this at this center, because I understand it better now. And so we go. And so it grows. You know, Rumi had a quote, and I'm just going to paraphrase it, but he said something like, I only hang around with people, wasn't his verbiage, I only hang around with people who don't think they find God at every way station. Again, focused outside. And that applies to me as well. Where are my way stations? A lot of my way stations hang up in spiritual principle and my intellect and my ability to talk and my ability to touch and my ability to connect. A lot of God I never found here, ever, until this last month. So, where are you not in sacred relationship? I would just ask you that. Where in your life are you not seeing God within you? Not outside. Don't look to the world of effects when I say that. But where in you are you not in sacred relationship and glorifying the God of your beingness? Because, as you know, there's nothing to seek and nowhere to go. And I know that can be very frustrating, sometimes painful. But that's okay. Because the rain and the sun work together. The plant, the seed, and the sun. The plant, the seed, and the rain work together. You don't always see the principles working upon your life and working through you. But everything is in an infinitely intelligent, creative, and loving system. So give yourself a great gift this Christmas, this holiday season. I know there'll be lots of rushing. There'll be lots of excitement. There might be some traveling for some of you. But give yourself the gift of belonging completely to yourself. And just see how differently you feel and how more open and receptive you are to the sacredness of your own life and the life of this world. And so it is. Judy, thank you.